Hello, welcome back to BG Pythons. Today is one of those great days when we get to show off a new product that's landed in the shops. Habistat have brought out a new range of thermostats built on their classic range. This is the new Classic Pro range, and this particular model here is the pulse proportional thermostat, which is a stat that I've been using for many years. I'm talking over 30 years, I believe, that I've been using the pulse proportional thermostat. It's been so reliable, such a brilliant piece of kit. I'll just show you before I unbox this one. This is the usual, just the classic pulse proportional. I use this on 7 of my Vivs, and it's absolutely the most robust thermostat I've ever used. That has some flaws. The dialing in using the dial is quite tricky, and we'll come to the probe in a minute. But here we have a new product. Super excited about this. They've got the same range as they had before. So there's a mat stat, which was by its name is just an on-off thermostat that you largely would use for so low-powered heat sources, mainly heat pads and things, which is ideal. I've never actually used the mat stats, but they just go on and off. What you definitely don't use them for is for lighting systems, because obviously it would freak the animals out. The lights would be going on and off all the time. There's the dimming thermostat, which I use on quite a lot of my Vivs, because that's very useful for deep heat projectors, infrared projectors, lighting sources where you're using them for heat, and the heat panels, which is quite good because it keeps a continuous but variable sort of power supply going, so it just dials it up and down. So it's really quite good. They're really quite good. And the pulse proportional thermostat, which in this case I will be using on my hatchling rack, which uses a heat cable. Also really good for ceramic heat emitters and heat mats as well. So really good piece of kit this. Now I'm going to open it up, just have a look what's in the box. You get the classic instructions, which I never read, but I do advise you to. It's probably good. It does talk a little bit about where you should place the probe, which is really important to make sure you dial in these thermostats and your heaters in properly. And putting that down, it's very similar to the original, except it hasn't got a dial. It's now got a little LCD digital display. It's got the I like this particular model, and the model that I've currently got, where you can screw them in if you want to into your Viv or into a wall or whatever, which is really useful. And there's a notable difference if I just grab my original, other than the dial, which is quite an obvious thing, which is, to be fair, is used to be a bit of a pain, because it used to get knocked. And I know some people who've got a lot of these on the outside of their enclosures, particularly in the stack systems that you get with Herb Exotic racks. They're really cool stack systems where the stats sit there, and they're easy to do, but very easy for people to just knock them, and maybe without noticing either dial down or dial up on the temperatures. This one's this original classic is a high powered one. They did do a lower powered one, so this would go to 40 degrees C, and which is, you know, for a lot of species quite useful to have, particularly some of the lizard species. You needed to really get that up high. But as you can see, when you compare, well, turn it around the right way, compared to there are 3 leads coming off this one and only 2 off this one. And that is because, and I just think this is bloody brilliant, and I think they're the only provider in the UK certainly that do this. It's a detachable probe. I mean, and it's just plugs in and just sits into there. It's going to make life so much easier to actually, when you're moving vivs and things out, and you don't have to. You've got a probe that's stuck through and everything like that. You could actually just move your stuff out, just unplug it. Really, really, absolutely brilliant bit of innovation there. Love it. Be interesting to see whether microclimate catch on that and evolve their products. But this is great. Obviously, I haven't had a chance to actually play with it. So what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be a little bit of an update on my dreamsicle. She had, if you haven't seen one of my shorts, she laid 9 eggs, which is brilliant. They're cooking away in the incubator at the moment, and so I'm going to replace the classic with this one on my hatchling rack. And so some really other cool features that this has got compared to the original classic. This will go up to a higher temperature, so it's up to 50 degrees C, not 40. And you can dial up and dial down. It's very easy to use. The instructions are really straightforward. Dial up and down in 0.1 increments, so the accuracy is so much better than it was before. Also, there's a couple of safety things. It's got the same system with an external fuse, which you can replace, so it does give some protection. But also, it's got, very importantly, it's got an alarm which will trigger if it gets too hot or it gets too cold, which is pretty useful. Now, it doesn't have the connectivity like the Evo Connects do with your phone, which is kind of a geeky thing. It's quite useful. But then the microclimate Evos are quite a lot more expensive. So this is coming in, this is the pulse proportional one, and I actually managed to get it for around £40 mark, but they're sort of roughly around the £40 to £50 mark. You will get, particularly some of the online businesses will often do deals and all of that type of stuff, so keep an eye out for all of those. But always try to support your local reptile business if possible, if you've got one local to you. It's really worth doing if you can. I went to my local one and they didn't have any of these in stock yet, so I had to get them from other means. In fact, I got them through Ridgeway when I got my frozen rats and mice. So they were selling these, and they had plenty in stock, which is great. I suspect Ridgeway, who make Herp Exotic, will probably start putting these in their rack systems for those stacking things. So this would be the new one that you'll get via that means. So far so good. I really like these. I think the probe thickness is another winner. Just probe thickness, very important. So it's got a nice metal probe, and if you just can see, just try and get that on a bit of contrast, the big bulbous sort of rubber probe at the end of the original classic, and the Pro's a lot more slimline, and it's got this metal, which is really good. And actually the whole wire for it's a lot thinner. It's just going to make it easier if you've just got to make a little hole into your viv through the mesh and everything. I'm really impressed with these. Fingers crossed it does the job as good as the original classic has done for decades, absolute decades. I think I first got those in, not these particular ones, but I first got them in the 1990s, and they were really good. Now, it is so important, goes without saying, a thermostat is really important to have if you've got any heating source in your vivariums. You must always have one of these, and there's lots available. There's lots of different brands, microclimate, Inkbird even do a version similar to this, quite straightforward digital sort of versions, a bit longer, which I know some people utilise, and you know that like as another option for you. But this is quite compact. It will sit quite nicely if you had to put it on a Viv or anything. So I give it, everything so far is singing out to me as a win-win on this one. I just hope it's as reliable as the other ones have been, and if it is, then I shall be definitely purchasing a few more of these. So just to talk a little bit more about being responsible and making sure that you provide all the right equipment and invest in the right equipment for your reptiles. So with this in mind, I will give this a bit of a test. I will report back in a few months' time if to see how I'm getting on with it, and with a bit of luck it will be a massive thumbs up. But well done, Habistat. It's a really good step forward, particularly with that detachable and waterproof probe. Brilliant. Thanks a lot. Thank you for watching. Hope you find this useful. Don't forget to subscribe, hit that bell button, and if you've already purchased one of these or you use a different product, put it in the comments and tell me how you've been getting on. Be really interested to know. Thanks a lot. Take care.